What's good, YouTube? And so we're back for the third episode as to why foods can possibly be bad for you. So number 2, a food can be bad for you if it causes a nutrient deficiency by diluting out the micronutrients and taking away from the possible micronutrients you could be having from your diet. So in short, you're having too little micronutrients such as your vitamins and your minerals. In this case, you would be taking in more empty calories than you would be wholesome calories. So in the past and probably currently, researchers have tried to come up with systems that rank foods on like point scales and just all these different types of methods. The problem with all of these methods is that they're subjective and they're not based off of scientific evidence. So a good example of one that I'm going to put up the study for on the screen here is the Healthy Eating Index. If you look into the Healthy Eating Index, it's absolutely subjective and not based off of scientific evidence. So it's not something that you should base your decisions to eat off of, relatively speaking. So speaking of the nutrients within different foods, let's say we have syrup and we have an apple. Obviously these foods do not have the exact same vitamins and minerals that will come from them to help meet your micronutrient goals. It has been shown that as long as a majority of your calories come from wholesome, nutrient-dense foods such as the apple over here, there's no evidence out there so far to support the fact that you cannot meet your micronutrient needs while still consuming some empty calories such as the syrup or maybe cake icing and things like that that are more enjoyable, of course. It's been shown in research that you would have to consume over 20% of your total calories for the day before it becomes impossible to meet your micronutrient goals. So let me give you an example. Let's use, just in the last video, we used 3,000 calories as our maintenance. 20% of calories coming directly from sugar would result in 150 grams of sugar. If you take a 16-ounce bottle of, say, Coke, for example, I'm almost certain that it has about 52 grams of sugar in it. You would have to consume 3 whole 16-ounce bottles of Coke before it became to a point at which you could not potentially meet your micronutrient goals for the day, i.e. vitamins and minerals. Sugar is not the problem, sugar is not bad for you, but it is in excess when you are at very high surplus. In that case, it can, again, lead to obesity because of a high surplus, which we discussed in the last video, as well as take away from meeting your potential micronutrient goals and something else that you'll see in the next video. But I'll do a full video on just sugar and why it's not bad for you coming up in the future. It's also been shown by the CDC that 90% of us Americans, maybe some people from else around the world watching this one day, are meeting our micronutrient goals. There is a small amount of data though showing that it might be more common for people that are not meeting their micronutrient goals to be dieting. So for example, the contest prep that I just did, it's possibly likely I was not meeting my micronutrient goals, which I said in past videos that I know I was because I was tracking that. But that would make sense because I'm consuming a much lower amount of calories. For me it was 2,300, so it was still very possible for me to meet my micronutrient goals. Now for someone else who is dieting and doesn't know as well of what they're doing or just are on very low calories, say 1,200, it's very unlikely that they're going to be meeting their micronutrient goals. But it's going to be very unlikely that you need to absolutely eliminate all junk food in order to meet your micronutrient goals. In this case, for most of my clients and people in general that are dieting, I would recommend taking a multivitamin just to be on the safe side. You're knowing that you're going to get all of your vitamins and minerals for the day. And again, so as I've said, as long as you're not eating more than 20% of your calories from directly at sugar, and you're using these empty foods or empty calories in moderation, it's going to be okay and you're going to be able to meet your micronutrient and macronutrient goals, hopefully, still. So let's take ice cream or cake, for example, which both have milk in them. We know there's a host of benefits that come from taking in dairy, but just because that the dairy is now mixed with cream and sugar in, say, the ice cream, whereas mixed with sugar and butter in the cake, does not mean that the benefits of the dairy absolutely disappear. It just means that there's a less total benefit to the dairy, but it's still there. Alrighty guys, I hope that helped out. So again, we've already covered number 1 is that if you're in a surplus and too much of a surplus, any food that you eat that puts you in too high of a surplus and it leads to excess fat gain, which can eventually lead to obesity, that food or those foods above that surplus level that is just absolutely too high can be then bad for you. Again, in this video, now we have talked about foods can be bad for you if they take away from the micronutrients that you should be consuming in a whole diet without going over an extremely high surplus. Regardless if you're in a deficit or a surplus or a maintenance phase, the calories that you're taking in are not taking away from the goal that you have set in macronutrients and replacing them with empty calories. Guys, I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Smash the like button, drop a comment, share the video. I'll see you guys next time.
Here we go.